On your mark.
Well done.
And we are underway as the men make their way down the straightaway. A large and long group of athletes making their way out to the north end before they'll make a turn around this course. Footage a little bit smaller footprint than previous years, which is nice for the fans and for those of you streaming online, as you'll be able to catch most of the action as the men make their way around the course throughout. Should not lose sight of the athletes today very often at all. As the men are underway in the field, the competitors say Hunter Boyer of Air Force, Colin Dwyer, Sam Gilman, Ryan Johnson, Scott Johnson, Will Kitzhaber, and Alex Schreck, and Justin Weber. And Jonathan Shields. We mentioned Boise State, Muhammad, wearing bib number 31, and Dunn 26, respectively. Elijah Armstrong's also in that top 15. He's wearing bib 24 for the fourth. Johnson was a brought out the Rams side of the ledger here as the men make their way around. Yet Fresno State and Sam Hawley, Alexis Mitchell, and Jay Popoff. For Nevada, Carson Levitt, Jared Marchecker,
Do not let Bailey talk.
We'll continue on with our men. San Jose State's Edgar Bonilla, Luis Chavez, Evaristo Mateo, Jose Pena, and Omar Pena. Utah State, our host, Luke Beatty, we mentioned him. He's bib 75. Hayden Cooper, Dallin Farnsworth, Caleb Garnica, and Adam Hendrickson. He is bib 80 and one to watch. Roberto Porras, J.D. Thorne, number 84, Max Whirl, and James Withers. Of course, Wyoming, Harry Ewing, we mentioned. Number 87, Chris Henry, Philip Henry, Daniel Hintz, Blake Hubert, Tom Mulai. Paul Roberts, the defending champion, wearing bib 94, Albert Steiner, and Gerald Taylor for the Cowboys as the men make their way around. Past team champions, of course, New Mexico, 11 in a row and looking for number 12 this year on the men's side. Boise State won the title in 2018. Colorado State took home the trophy 2017. Boise State in 2016, Air Force in 2015. We mentioned Paul Roberts, the defending champion on the men's side. He took the honors in 2018. Of course, Colorado State's Gerald Mock in 2017. Yusuke Yoshikoshi on his home turf at Boise State won it in 16, and Mock of Colorado State also the winner in 2015. Among those in the field who were honored with the Mountain West Peak Athlete of the Week Award, J.D. Thorne of Utah State. Paul Roberts, we mentioned, the defending champion back in September, got the honor. Luis Chavez of San Jose State took home that weekly honor in October. Luke Beatty of Utah State, mid-October, earned that award. Thomas Chaston of Colorado State won that notation in the mid-time in October. And then Ahmed Muhammad of Boise State took home that weekly award on the 22nd. Muhammad was the top Mountain West finisher on the men's side at Wisconsin in the Nutty Comb. He had a PR of 24 minutes and some change. The men are going from north to south now. We can see them quite clearly across the way against the beautiful backdrop of the mountains as they make their way up. Still a very large field, a group of one. Not surprising, as this field, as will be true with the women, very, very strong and should be a great championship race as they're just getting underway here at the 2019 championship.
That's going to be
and the men have made the turn. Now they're heading back up to the north end, and still very, very tight group there as they make their way around. Some team notes as we watch the men go. We'll begin with Air Force. Falcons opened the season this year with both teams ranked nationally. That was the first time in program history. The men at one point reached the 26th ranking in the country, and the women are currently 14th while the men are receiving votes. That was the first time in Air Force history that both teams opened the season at any point, really, and were nationally ranked. At the Dirksen Invitational, the men were 4th. The Dellinger Invitational, the women took 3rd place. At the UCCS Open, that's the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, 6 of the 10 men were in the top 10. Conrad Steck finished 2nd. Ryan Johnson was 4th. Marshall Wheeler and Matt Zacharias were in that mix, along with Drew Lester and Scott Mason. At the Nutty Comb in Wisconsin, the women were 8th. It was the 2nd highest finish by any Air Force squad, men or women. And the top 30 finishers, Michaela Norris, who was 22nd, and Michaela Gallagher, who was 29th for the Falcons. So a nice year this year for the Air Force Falcons. The men now have gone all the way over the farthest point on that eastern side up against the mountains, and they head back toward the south area now. From a great distance, you can see looks like a lot of yellow. That would indicate perhaps Wyoming, and we'll confirm that as we get a little bit closer in here. Boise State, of course, a national power in cross country, and they were actually the preseason pick to win the conference. And the USTF CCCA August regional rankings, both men and the women, were in the top 10, 6th and 2nd, respectively. Women are currently 13. They were 13 in the preseason rankings of the USTF CCCA. At the Sagebrush Invitational, the men and women both finished 2nd. At the Dellinger, The women were second, the men were fourth. At Nuttycombe, the elite race in Wisconsin had the top finish in program history, men and women. The women were seventh, and the men were in the 12th spot. At pre-nationals, women were 12th. Laura Hamilton, Grace Brock, and Tihana Vladik. Sailor Hunt were in that mix. We'll detail that once the women are on the course a little bit later this morning. Colorado State's men were ranked 17th preseason in the USTF CCCA. They moved to the 14th spot by September. Men were third at the Wyoming Invitational, 18th at Notre Dame, and at that University of Colorado College Springs Open we talked about Air Force, Thomas Chaston won it in a time of 24:41. The men were 26th at the Nuttycombe. Satchel Caldwell, the top ram finisher, finishing in a time of 24:27. Fresno State also competing today. Their men were 20th at the Riverside Invitational. At the Capital Cross Challenge, the men were 35th. And at the Bronco Invitational recently completed, there were 9 PRs at that meet among the Fresno State athletes, including Matthew Founds. He ran the 8K in 25:53. Also setting PRs that day at the Bronco Invitational for Fresno State, Sam Hawley, Jose Del Real, Nathan Bird, and James Barrett. Field is starting to spread out just a little bit as they continue on in the 2019 championship. We'll continue updating you as they move along. Some team notes from the University of Nevada. At the Twilight Classic, men and women swept that event. Men claiming 6 of the top 10 spots, all under 26 minutes. At the Capital Cross Challenge, the men were 27th, led by Adam Sojan in 25:22. And at the Bronco Invitational, the men were 23rd, with Sojan recording an 8K PR of 25:21, and Mac Swenson at 25:38. And the men are coming now a little closer into view again. We're seeing a lot of gold in the field and perhaps a Colorado State runner at the lead. Hard to know. We'll know when they come through the area here by the finish as they make a lap around here. Meanwhile, we'll tell you San Jose State, Jose Pena is one to watch and has had a great career here in the Mountain West. Capital Cross Challenge. Luis Chavez was 5th at 24:15, and Pena was 12th at 24:25 for San Jose State. And our host, Utah State, the Sagebrush Invitational, the men and women swept that. In first place, J.D. Thorne, Caleb Garnica, second and third respectively. At the Montana State Invitational, the men were second with James Withers, Adam Hendrickson, Robert Porras, and J.D. Thorne and Caleb Garnica, 3rd, 6th, 8th, 9th, and 10th respectively. The Paul Short Run for the Aggies, the men won that. And at the Reader Memorial, the men were 17th. At the Nuttycombe, the men were 29th. And finally at Wyoming, the Invitational, they started out the year, the men won that event. Paul Roberts, the 2018 champion, was first at a 5K at 15:05, followed by Christopher Henry in 4th, Harry Ewing in 9th. At Notre Dame, in the blue division, the men were 13th. At the Nuttycombe, the men were 23rd. And that gives you some highlights for the men this season in the Mountain West. And you can see just from that brief rundown, a great success for all the men's teams as they come through now. Have a better sense now of individual placements as the men come on through, making their way around now. And the group has certainly spread out significantly as we take a look around this fine course. Here is a brisk morning here in Logan, but a really wonderful time really to run for these athletes. They're making their way, very comfortable for them as they are rolling along. And we can see that lead group now as they make their way toward the south. It looks like the Gold of Wyoming running 1 and 2. We'll have to take a look as they come through to get the individuals for you.
Every day
And Utah State followed by Boise State. Haven't got bib numbers. Certainly could be Roberts. Wyoming, no, but a very tight top, really 10 or so as they make their way. And right now, looking at it, looks like Utah State has run to the lead. Cannot make out the bib number from this distance. Those of you streaming may have a better idea of that than we do here live, but it looks like a move has been made. Certainly could be Luke Beatty, don't know, but we'll do our best to figure out individuals. Boise State second, then it's Wyoming. As the men make their way around the course here.
Day hike. Yeah, like
And the men are heading toward the main field here as they make their way up. Looking to make out a bib number here. We can give you some leads, but we will see them soon enough and be able to give you that information. But it looks like now a significant lead, and I believe that is a Utah State runner. Don't want to speculate at this point exactly who it could be.
right now I'll be like
Okay, here.
oh yeah, yeah, no. They don't know anybody. Well, from what I've seen, you guys, no, I'm not. It's nice to know that they can really hear like they don't know.
We are coming up to a final turn in a sprint to the finish on the men's side of the 2019 Mountain West Conference Championship here in Logan. A final turn.
Do you want us to direct them to or have it right here?
And it is Utah State. There is no question about that. And on the home turf, claiming the title, Farnsworth of Utah State. And here comes the race for second. Colorado State looks to be in the second spot, and that is Barton, followed by Ewing of Wyoming, Katzhaber of Air Force, Beatty of Utah State. The rest of the field, Howler, Muhammad. Wyoming coming through. New Mexico's Cook and Fuller, Armstrong of Boise State. Utah State's Garnica, not in any specific order here as they're coming through. Thorne, Boyer of Air Force, Caldwell of Colorado State, Mooney of Colorado State. The Rams with a good showing, Air Force a good showing, certainly Utah State a good showing, as well as the Cowboys of Wyoming as the rest of the field come. Very crowded finish right now. Can't make out the finishers. And here come the men, finishing their 2019 conference season. And a good race it was with a final push there from Utah State Farnsworth. What a great individual effort that was in about the last mile or so, taking charge of the race. The rest of the men come through. Brown of Colorado State, Quinn of Boise State. Meanwhile, Farnsworth of Utah State claiming the honors here in the 2019 championship.
Hanging on there.
Good job, guys. Keep moving.
Matt, wait, keep moving up. You got it in, man. Get some warm stuff on, guys. We got water.
Great job by all the men as they are finishing up their run. We, of course, invite everyone. We'll have the women's race underway in just a few moments, and then once that is concluded, invite everyone on site here to stick around for the Grand Awards ceremony. Those of you streaming online to do the same, as we'll have the Grand Awards, which is the top 14 Coach of the Year, Athlete of the Year, Freshman of the Year, some fine awards to close out the 2019 conference cross country season. Of course, much to come still yet nationally in cross country. Number of Nevada runners now coming through as we come to the close of the men's championship run.
Yeah, freezing.